Hi there, welcome to Carcassonne with Itze and this year's Asian Cup final. It's Japan versus Thailand. Japan with the blue meeples, Thailand with yellow. Please excuse the slight delay. Again, I guess you can think what happened. I had a few issues here, but I think it's running fine now. Except for my camera, but I guess you can live without me for today. Okay, let's hop into the game. As I said, Kithara for Japan plays with the blue meeples, Pakshe yellow. Kithara closed the city here in the middle. More or less equal, although took the field already, has a monastery in place. Pakshe is on the left side of the field, quite likely, and will merge later on. So far so good, all standard moves here. Actually leaves the cap empty, takes the 2 points. Of course, Kithara already has cap in play. Which then leads to a situation where Kithara could be constructed like this. So could indirectly kill Kithara's city here, although there are still both leaders available. Figuring that this field, because it's completely open on this side and only slightly restricted over here, will only grow. Kithara opts to add a second meeple early on. Pakshe hopes to create a loop road here using the road end, which is already present. Hopes to get 2 straights. Yeah, building a quick city, quickly thwarted by Kithara with the quadruple city piece, which is more or less one of the worst outcomes for Pakshe. Kithara unites fields on the left side, also brings his monastery further to completion. Second monastery by Kithara, and Pakshe adds another one there. For now, looks like Kithara is ahead, if not so on the scoreboard, then at least in the virtual scoring and potential just by unifying its field and growing it on the left side. Looks quite good for now, as Pakshe's most threatening would be the city on the right side, but it's pretty tough to complete that one against an experienced player like Kithara. Meanwhile, it looks pretty close on all other tables, which is more or less what I would have expected. There's, I'd say, only one table where I would say a Japanese player is really favored, and that's table 1, Rufu versus Waigogu Y. Maybe good favorite versus LZ as well. But in the end, hope for close match. Yeah, Kithara prevents Pakshe from running away with the big city, or at least tries to prevent it. Now, do you add a third farmer? Do. So then let's brace ourselves. If we are Thai fans, that is, because right now it looks a bit like Kithara is threatening an early decision here and forcing Pakshe to risk quite a lot. Maybe winning this fieldless. Nice try killing the monasteries, but it didn't work out. Still 4 curves out there. It's highly likely Kithara would get one sooner than later. Next 3 points here forces rerouting of the road here. Quite likely wasn't what Pakshe had in mind. Especially this connection. Might have even have an attacking option against the field. It's still present, for example, like this attack over here. 13-point difference, and that is these points included right now because field is tight as of now. Or actually wouldn't change if all these 3 fields were unified, because Kithara would lose a few points. So the difference over here is more or less the actual difference. And that's this stuff that Pakshe has to risk. Trying to create a bigger city / ruin. Meanwhile, Kithara more or less has only defend his lead and prevent big features from happening. It will be interesting to see what he'll do. Splitter. Several options, as is usually the case. Could try to close his city, kill this one, but that's highly risky. Chance of that move backfiring is pretty great. Oh, I guess he won't use it this way, considering there are still 3 cows available. Any placement over here actually is a risk. And so he just opts to add 2 city caps to the middle field, the main field, which, as I said earlier, is still tight, but he'll connect either way. He, of course, hopes to connect while liberating the 2 monasteries. Build 3 curves in the deck. And meanwhile just scores quick points with lone meeple in hand. Or what's Pakshe hoping for? Tries to run away with this city instead of trying to connect Kithara's here. Is interesting. But I guess the risk is if he would connect, this square would be blocked. It wouldn't really help him. Trying to create a feature of his own is actually not the worst idea. Right now, he has to think whether try and block field off. Problem is there still this second route which could be used with curve, but of course the first curve for blue would go with monasteries. And the question is, do you even want to split the fields in the long run, or would you like to say, at least for now, try to split them off? Using this for your city doesn't really help. Maybe this way, but you don't get all these parts connected. It doesn't really do much for you. So he opts to obstruct the connection over here, although there are still 2 starting tiles available and still 2 curves left. Meanwhile, he actually liberates the road meeple. Kithara scores quick points, the same does Pakshe. And now Kithara's at plus 26. So Pakshe more or less has to either take over the field. There's an option up top, or maybe even 2 options. And then, of course, try to block the middle field. Doesn't get unified with the one on the left side, which is blue's field for now. Blue have 2 meeples, 2 farmers versus yellow's 1 farmer. And now we see another farmer by Kithara, and that should definitely seal the deal. All 6 monasteries are gone. Yeah, there's this city here on the right side. If Pakshe would get 2 quick Doritos with shields, are still in a deck. Yeah, would score a few points, 14, but still only half of the difference. And then more or less needs to use either the last remaining vanilla or one of the regular Doritos to liberate some meeple here. Kithara now connected, which I'm actually not happy with. I don't see any reason why he did this. I mean, it secures the field, sure, but it also subtracts 9 points from his total score. And another 6 points would be gone if Pakshe connects it's up top. And then the difference would be down to 14 points, which is what this city on the right side could score if he gets the aforementioned Doritos. Kithara goes here. The rest is the city, so there's only one road to Dorito left. Still a few city caps. Only these 3 here would work. Add on 2. It's pretty unlikely. Yeah. I think he needs to close this, and Kithara could kill it with 1 move given the right draw. And he gets the quick tiles anyway. Interesting choice, leaving 2 quick scoring options. Figuring, of course, that Pakshe would use city cap on city. He doesn't go for the quick points. Or why played the road there? Maybe to have an outside chance of attack field, but that's see any reason to do that actually. There's no chance in hell that he would win this field or tie this field. First off, he doesn't have the meeples. And then Ara has a 4th farmer in place, could connect to the main field rather easily. I'd have to categorize this grade into this category. So now that this is more or less overlap. Yeah, obstruction over here. A few more points for Pakshe, but doesn't change anything. Game Kithara with a convincing win here. Down to his early farm play. And of course the few nice monasteries. And then the timely draw of the quadruple city, preventing Pakshe to build a big feature of his own, or at least close a city for 8 points and maybe attack the field straight away. Oh, this more or less is lopsided considering the level of both these players. Let's see if the second one a bit closer. Crash. Looks like LZ was able to upset Should on table 3, so that bodes well for Thailand. Because I'd say if Thailand wants to win this final and get a better medal than last year's silver, they definitely would need to win table 1 or table 3, I guess. or the other three. Well, maybe that's possible too. These two. But let's just wait. Yeah. Happened. So at the end, put second game. Quickly check if it's completely lopsided here. Idinidad versus Kurikinton. Even if this connection works out for blue. The 4 city field doesn't really score that much. Right now he thinks whether to connect here. Say go for it, but look at table 1, why was able to defeat Gorufu. Then let's go back to Pakshe Kithara. Yeah, Kithara starts with the monasteries again and even closed the city here, while Pakshe only has a lousy road and a few city points to his name. Doesn't really look that good. Oh, I missed Pakshe's farmer. That of course is a nice one. Yeah, Kithara able to liberate the monastery pretty quickly, adding a city part, likely hoping to close this small city while attacking the field immediately. Again with a nice draw. Scoring quick points while also harassing your opponent's city is always he of course would love to do anything about the city and monastery playing either square next to it, but draws a lousy straight. Maybe it's time to risk a bit. Add it up top. Try to put some pressure. 2 features. Now Kithara can defend. Wait, and of course hopes to draw a perfect piece like a dagger or a rose, for example. Doesn't definitely isn't the frightened type. Uses monastery where it's supposed to be used. Nice 5-point monastery spot. Of course, risking all these 3 meeples. Again, this time Pakshe would have loved to get a straight. Gets a monastery instead. Maybe just meeple the monastery. Then block this square next to it. like this. It actually is a bit of a protection, but at least it also protects your field who couldn't meet. On table 2, Charwin 053 was able to beat Ezitakuto traps. And on table 5, Idinidad was able to beat Kurikinton as expected. At least as expected after a quick check game minutes earlier. So after 5 games, Thailand leads 3-2. He obstructs city up top. Kithara doesn't use the cow over here because this would limit monastery and later on the city to a dagger, and also risk the city completely. From the top would be rather easy for Pakshe. Yeah, what do you do here? Do you at least prevent blue from closing their rightmost monastery quickly? Do you rather try to kill blue's attack on your city on the left side? Or is this not aggressive enough, considering you own the field but are still 13 points behind? Do you block here? Okay, he goes for the left route. Maybe could hope later draw the Rito. Build the big city. Boss. 2 cows are begun. Not the easiest situation. This block is definitely a good idea. 1 dagger, 1 right-handed dagger is already gone, so at least it could delay blue's meeple retrieval. Blue sees the danger and opts out of the city for now, at least, while of course also trying to attack the field. Gets to close the monastery while also taking quick points. Sure, lightly also protects their city, although a Dorito like this would help yellow. So there are still 3 starting tiles there. Would be susceptible to a block later on. Sure. Pakshe nixes attack on the left side. As I said, still 2 right-handed daggers available, so even if Kithara would try to harass the city, chances for Pakshe would still be intact to close it. Kithara snags the 4-point road up top. Still a lot of city road ends out there, and also he creates an attacking option against Pakshe city. Therefore, this might be in order because at least it takes away a few of the attacking pieces. The cows and the starting tiles. Although starting tile Kithara might actually use up top to liberate the city. That he adds a second meeple for safe invasion. Self-invasion. And oh, totally missed that one. Yeah. It is a nice hamster spot, but the regular monastery isn't there anymore, so this farmer will score at most 6 points. That's why Pakshe placed the Dorito there. Maybe didn't even need to add a meeple to it. Would have risked it, but of course Kithara would have jumped at the bit there. Take any city piece and take the Dorito himself. Looks like Pakshe is a lot this card. Now both splitters are gone, and if anything better to do, at least he put the city on the right side. Devastating. That's devastating. This one piece triples the tiles needed to close the city at the top end. Instead of one more or less abundant city cap, you now need a Dorito and 2 more city caps, or 3 Doritos if you prefer. Good news for Pakshe though, immediately got one of the Doritos. Here with one. Options to obstruct the city are there at both ends. Right now, try to at least limit attacking and destruction options on that side. Be sure why that more or less everything he would use to kill this square would rather use a city. Best news for Pakshe, of course, is still caps are. Problem though is might find himself in a situation where he would need both remaining right-handed daggers. Kithara could obstruct like this and this. Yeah, it's now the question. Liberate your monastery. Big points. Do you just prevent yellow from closing this city? anytime soon. Both diagonal splitters are gone, and then you would need 2, 3, 4 pieces to close it. The downside of this move here, of course, is that Pakshe could add even more points with city/ruin, but there are only 2 pieces remaining to connect. Construction from blue is definitely on the menu if you decide to place the horse this way. I don't see any other moves. Using this here, also the benefit of more or less sealing off the field, although is that a benefit? There might arise a situation where he needs to attack the field again. In the end, he opts to obstruct at the top, where of course actually would need one of the 2 remaining vanillas, or maybe Dorito, but the Dorito he'd need more caps anyway. It's definitely not easy, and this one actually is no-brainer, but both options are it, and both options I'd say would force a ruin. Actually, I don't see him closing that city anymore after one of the moves. Meanwhile, on table 1, Gurufu was able to equalize the game versus Y Guru Guru Y, and I totally forgot. Refresh table 5. Oh, it's table 4, idinidad Quinton. So please, folks, if you're watching this and notice there's a game in one of the corners which there's nothing happen and it's not completed, let me know in the chat. So looks like Kithara opted for the top option. But now the game is pretty close. 65-59. He still has this city in play. Force has wasted a bit of an effort on this city here. But why not? It was closable, and if he would have been successful, quite likely would have run away with the game. Yeah. That's an okay-ish move. Didn't really close the road up top. And the dagger wasn't that useful. City on the right side anyway. The 4 points, or tries to close the city bottom right. Guess right. Try to score point. Okay, there is still one right-handed dagger remaining to liberate Blue's Monastery. And still a bunch of tiles to liberate City Meeple there. Maybe even for 2 quick points. On table 3, the one versus should. It was already second win, so the match score is 1-0 Thailand. On table 4, Hurricane seems to exert some revenge on Idinidad. Let's see. Field, big field even. But already blocked squares in whose favor? So Shud's favor. Not Shud, Hurricane's favor. So meanwhile, she was able to close the city at the top. And Kithara liberates the monastery meeple. Pakshe with the rose can't do anything about the city, and there is no right-handed dagger left, but Kithara doesn't get one of the many pieces he could use to kill Pakshe's city. 6 pieces even, and there are only 2 for Pakshe to close the city, and he gets one. He gets the vanilla. Only thought for a few seconds whether to meeple the field there. Oh damn it, I totally missed that he hasn't closed this up top. Okay, so the city isn't closed as of yet. Still needs to draw the remaining vanilla cap. Pakshe invests second farmer, secure his 12-point field because Kithara attacks on the left side. So crucial tiles definitely are these 2, the Dorito to close Kithara's city on the left side, and of course the remaining vanilla cap, close Pakshe's big city. And if you are asking whether he should have used the first vanilla, close the city in spot 1, no. I'd say definitely not, because there were so many tiles out there. Kill the square on the left that he had to risk the 50-50 flip for the remaining vanilla. So Pakshe quite likely now takes 4 quick points, connects fields. He could of course defer that action and first off kill Blue City and then hope to draw a curve later. The problem is though that the rose is the last crossroad in this game. Then later on Tara would use a curve here. Its connection blocked, and therefore he opts to connect right away. Yeah, Kithara with the 1-point move, closing the city for +4, but adding a city to Pakshe's field for -3. 1 point and a meeple back. Definitely worst investment. For now he still ahead. course, has to hope to get. Oh, completely missed. He drew the vanilla already. That's gone. That square is dead. This isn't updated. Oh, now it has updated. This square is dead. This, of course, as well. Kithara takes these 3 points because there is still one starting tile remaining, which doesn't really do a lot for him. Because the 3 points added to his road would also be added to the field, and then both would get a meeple back and yellow would get another point. So with this road, at least he has an incentive to close the city. But now that Pakshe has created this city on the right side, I'm pretty sure Kithara would use the starting tile over there instead. Pakshe doesn't dump the curve there. No, he creates an evil hamster spot for 8 points because he's 12 points now, 16 points behind, and needs to score a lot of points in quick succession. First order of business, of course, was to close this city. But even that doesn't win the game for him, because Kithara just can take a 6-point field on the left side, and even if Pakshe then gets the monastery for only 8 points, then would still be down 6 points. So Kithara, yeah, actually that's definitely better. Just takes the 2 points, and in case Pakshe would get the monastery, Kithara would take the 6 points later on. In case it's the other way around, he just takes the 8 points and Pakshe gets 6 points. So this move was the most decisive one. So in the end, 12 points, not 8 or not 6. Kithara wins this one versus Pakshe, arguably Thailand's best player, versus, at least from this lineup, Japan's best player. Well, let's check. Guru Y is covered by Otto for now. And Azzy looks to beat Charwin to force a decider. Let's quickly check. For Charwin to still game. Doesn't really look like it. Oh. Yeah, as he forces the decider. And Ulkinton Idinidad is next up on my list. Let's check. these two are doing. Is this big field in the middle, which I mentioned earlier, quickly at a peak? Was there that square still? And even if idinidad were to take this field over, only Thai, well, which would work, because Kui was starting player this time. But then, of course, if yellow would attack the field, taking options up top. This, and hope to get then one straight. Right now. Else maybe try to close this city. Still two caps out there. But even closing this city doesn't bridge the 20-point gap on the virtual scoreboard. So it looks like 3 deciders. Could go for the attack. Chances are actually great, but wouldn't win them the game because Korea is already ahead 20 points. The field would only be worth 18. Not really great chance. So this here is more or less throwing in the towel. Only has 2 moves left. One close the city and another one to score some points where maybe the 6-point field, which arguably Curry could have taken right now. But opts to obstruct. Idinidad over here. Case could have used this to protect their own city. And it doesn't really matter. So next up, I'll focus on Ezitakuto versus Charwin's decider. And then switch Kuri and idinidad bottom left corner. Because it looks like Y Gugu Y will add the second match point But Japan, roughly 30 points ahead. Doesn't look like a feature's worth that many points, which could be taken over by yellow with only 3 moves. So if Ezitakuto replicates their performance of game 2, they could decide this match for the world champion and would force a second consecutive silver medal on Thailand. Not that they would complain. Yes, in this competition with, I'd say, 3, maybe 4 pretty strong teams, definitely a 5th good team. Medaling is of course an accomplishment, and getting a silver medal, why not? Yes, they have been happy with it. You told them before the tournament. So over here, spot in the middle, of course, is dead, as he blocked it with starting tile on the right side, just to prevent the city closing from being closed. At the moment, of course, he loses the mini battle by -1, but he still has an option. And this road, of course, hopes to draw the perfect piece, which would be Road Monastery. Jarwin's way to get a leg up in this game either be score the city up top pretty fast, or maybe even better try to kill these 2 meeples here. They of course can't do anything about one remaining right-handed dagger. I think that's good as is. The 4 points for blue, but quite likely exactly 4 pieces invested, maybe only 3 by blue, because cow looks a bit cumbersome. Could have placed by yellow. Try to block it. Blue limited the block. Blue solves their issue next to the monastery. This here is not the best way to build up a city. Just consider what would happen if your opponent would get one of the 2 splitters. Case like this, maybe have enough meeples in hand. Just start another city. Wait for something better to actually obstruct blue's road. But as it turns out, yellow got all the pieces they needed to close this city. Virtually that even. And on table 1, Y was able to beat Gorufu. Now Thailand still has 2 chances. Here. Oh, I'm missing the game of Idinidad and Weekendon. And again, nobody said something. Shame on you. Blue creates an evil hamster, and one, of course, both would use. 1 road point for blue would be not really that interesting. Yellow. 8 points are 8 points. Yeah, blue able to close an 8-point city with only 2 meeples in hand. They didn't hop on the farm. Quite likely hoping to draw for a curve to then take the farm, which would all the way up to the top. The road monastery was road completion here. Now blue finally gets to liberate road up top, considering they still have other pieces, monasteries, burritos left to liberate the monastery. That's all fine dandy. Over here you need curvy tile, was would obstruct it. Critical tile still is the remaining right-handed splitter, and of course road monastery more or less is an 18-point flip. This game it had less loose road. Yeah, blue snap the field. Hopes to expand it somewhere. There's also this way to expand it to the top. These 3 points and setting up another 4-point road. This is a nice idea. The remaining crossroad yellow should rather close their road on the left side because there aren't that many chances to do that anymore. Yellow tries to kill blue's monastery, but who alerts fate? Still 4 pieces left. Close the monastery. Two left-handed daggers. Be interesting to see if one of them would use a dagger over there and then hope to draw one of the 2 remaining splitters. Get a 12-point city. That's why yellow kills this option. Meanwhile, blue reduces blue's road to the 1 remaining starting tile. Likely could now obstruct yellow, but why not take this 7-point road, also the field, incorporate the city up top. Creates a secondary or two secondary fields bottom with their meeple advantage. Definitely work out in their favor. Not just the monastery dump. Taking away the spot from yellow. Blue finally liberates the monastery in the middle. Of course, this here is dead, so it doesn't take this. That one is a bit too fragile for their taste. There aren't really that many caps left. Close it and configuration over here. Close it. Or work as well. But that aren't really great chances to close it. There is an option using big city pieces, but chances aren't great to close that city. Veto, of course, is on, so this is officially dead. So doesn't care about their 50-50 over here, takes the 4 points, rightfully so. Right now they are ahead. They have a meeple, one meeple more in hand than blue. Obstructs here, limits the field. The long run should be yellow's game. Yes, blue's best chance would be to draw the quick point tiles, especially the monastery and the city caps blocked by blue. Also possibly adding another city to their field. Critical now. City caps. Field at term, sending their lead to 11 points. And now we are dire straits for blue. They need to get the road monastery rather soon. Blocks blue's road, wins the mini battle, ties it for now, but could win it. They get, say, both road monasteries because the first one should go here. Second one would be placed 3. Would set up 4-point road plus field connection. Maybe force the issue a bit, baiting yellow in adding a farmer there. Else taking 2 quick points somewhere. Be snatching the 6 points from this ruin. There's no attacking option on this city anymore because this is actually last piece which would connect. But here I would where prevent here road monastery. Yeah? So he goes for the 4-point road. Yellow immediately draws 1 straightish piece. There's only 1 starting. They could kill road option. That they opt to take 4 points. Tries to unite fields to take 6 points away from yellow. Even getting the monastery wasn't enough for them. Yes. This is 8-point move. Yellow pushes their lead to 15 points. Blue gets the perfect piece over here. Scoring 7. 3, 1, 3. But how to score 9 points on the last turn. See it. 6 of imprecision by yellow. There are 6 over there, so 8. Then the tie. Wow. Is that one? The tie goes to Chawin. So drawing the road monastery was actually all they needed. And now it's only Idinidad and Kurikinton playing. The winner of this game secures the Asian Cup 2025 gold medal for their country. Yeah, right now, Japanese player with the blue meeples is leading. We finished city worth 20 points for both because they had Unidad finished this, excuse me, because they had no meeple in hand. Yes. Nine points down. Maybe closing this loop road and then hoping to be able to attack this city was the move they should have considered instead. Because sure, there are still 2 connection pieces over here, and then there is also a divider left. Something like this would work out in their favor. They would take over this 18-point field and put a city. But maybe risking this option would have been. Now there are only 2 curves out there to still liberate road. They are 19 points down. Winning the field in the middle is definitely a must. And closing the city, of course, would be extra. At the bottom there is this city here, which I totally neglected. And it's worth 15 points. Or any connection by yellow would net them 14. Figuring I have 1 in hand right now. Yeah. So connecting to the field and to the city. More or less all the pieces to the critical tiles box, except for something like a straight. So Kui blocks this here. Doesn't really matter that much whether Kui gets the cow or not. Sure, secure 2 more points, but really matter. Most other pieces should score more than them. Actually, the last remaining cow comes with the shield, so would just add it to their part of win. Yellow scores 3 quick points. Chances for yellow to draw the remaining one of the remaining vanillas are looking good, but with these 3 quick points they killed the option of closing the city. Action is only over 15, that's not enough. Just at their field, the door open for the curve. Yeah, 17 points. Getting great again. Definitely city draw. Yes. Big field here. 6 points. Then take 15 for 21. And then now the difference 17. So Kuri would have to score 5 points. Tough luck. Kuri will get at least one of the remaining vanillas for 7. we go. This scores to 7. Game over. At least idinidad manages to connect to the field, taking away 15 points from blue. But blue then will score 4 points. Better. 4 points here as well. Else. Idinidad concedes. No, it wouldn't have been 15. 12 points. This one here was already not sure what we're thinking about. Maybe trying again, trying to assess the situation, but that's pretty easy. Field is tight. The city is yours. The monastery is yours. You are ahead by quite a lot. So, congratulations. Team Japan. First ever gold medal in the Asian Cup for Team Japan, because last year they were ousted in the group phase by Thailand nonetheless. The third round, they lost 2-3 versus Thailand. Weren't able to qualify semifinals. This time around, they defeated Thailand in the final with a close score. Yes, 3-2. 3 deciders. Not as easy peasy as one might have hoped for. So that's it for me. Still have like test. At least the chat is working. That tool would have worked if anyone would have wrote anything. One thing, given there are still a few viewers left, if anyone is interested in co-hosting, co-commentating, just say the word, leave a comment, contact me on PGA, Discord, whatever works for you, and let me know. I'm sure happy to accommodate any one of you, as long as you speak a bit of English at least. So thanks for tuning in today. Tomorrow there is another game, and that's Hong Kong versus Taiwan, the bronze medal game. My time zone, it's 4 p.m. Your time zone, check, it's an hour later than today's starting time. I definitely will cover this. Not really sure which table, but all 5 seem to be more or less interesting. I'd say table 1 and table 2 should be the most lopsided ones. First one in Taiwan's favor, the second one in Hong Kong's favor. The other 3 seem to be pretty close. Likely one of tables 3 to 5 to start it off. I'll decide later or maybe tomorrow. So thanks again, and see you around. Bye bye.